Whiskey Bravo 4 and November Whiskey Victor.
November Whiskey Victor, Roger, Roger. What's the name?
November Whiskey Victor, Roger, Roger. What's the name?
Yeah, the name is Frank, Jim, and I'm located in Pensacola, Florida.
Roger, Frank, do you have a pretty good copy on me?
Roger, Frank, do you have a pretty good copy on me?
Yeah, you're not super loud, but I'm copying you just fine. Your signal's nice and clean, so everything seems to be working well.
Roger, Roger, Frank, what radio are you using today, sir?
Roger, Roger, Frank, what radio are you using today, sir?
Well, Jim, I'm running an ICOM 7300 with the standard hand mic that comes with it.
Say no more, say no more. That's just such a beautiful combination. It's hard to go wrong with a 7300 and its supplied hand mic. Roger, Roger.
300 and its supplied hand mic. Roger, Roger.
Roger, Roger. I was doing some adjusting on the compression drive and the R drive and the modulation drive, and I didn't know if I had put it up there too high or not.
Well, the best thing is put it in that. Make sure it's in that wide transmit bandwidth TBW. Transmit bandwidth wide 100 to 2900, Roger.
Transmit bandwidth wide 100 to 2900, Roger.
Well, I'm not very familiar with this radio there, Jim. I haven't had a chance to read the book, and I don't really know how to go into the menus to do that.
Roger, Roger. Well, let me just check a couple of things here. I've got everything you need and more. Okay, coming up, it's, hello. I'm using a little tablet here, and it's not wanting to go for some reason. Why aren't you going? Oh, well. Anyway, yeah, you would need, I'm not finding it right now, but, gosh, I'm not sure why. This my tablet. I'm using a tablet here, and it seems to be jammed, and I'm trying to retrieve the information. Anyway.
Trying to retrieve the information. Anyway.
That's okay. Take your time. I turned my mic gain down to where it was before I changed it. And I turned my compression down to where it was before I changed it. So I don't know if that made much difference.
Oh, yes, yes, you sound much better. On that compressor, we suggest a 3 out of 10 on that compressor. That's exactly what you need to be. You can go hotter than that, but then you start having a suck up in between your words, which doesn't do anybody any good. So we want a 3 on that compressor, Roger.
Any good. So we want a 3 on that compressor, Roger.
Yeah, Roger, Roger. Well, what about my antenna?
Well, let's do a little bit more on the radio since we got that going. You've got a 3 on the compressor, and you're in the wide transmit bandwidth. The adjustment for that is in the same area as the SS transmit. And then on your audio EQ, it's right in that area as your transmit bandwidth, and you want to be sure that's in that wide mode, because it really makes a difference when you're lesser than that. It's rolling off your top end as well as your bottom end.
Than that, it's rolling off your top end as well as your bottom end.
Okay, well, I have really bad lighting in the shack here right now, and I don't have my glasses on, so that's really a problem for me because I've got some cataracts now, and so it's making it difficult for me to see the buck panel very well.
Yes, sir. Well, maybe turn your suggest going to your ALC with mic gain in hand and adjusting your mic volume control to where your ALC is running 2/3 on your ALC meter. In lieu of that, maybe you might want to bring it down 5 clicks.
In lieu of that, maybe you might want to bring it down 5 clicks.
Yeah, I'm not much help here, Jim, because I don't even know how to access that. So I don't know if I'm much help.
Roger, Roger. Well, maybe step away from the microphone 2 additional inches. We'll see where that goes, Roger.
2 additional inches. We'll see where that goes, Roger.
Well, this is about 3 or 4 inches, 3.5 inches, something like that, from the mic. And this is right in the mic, not touching it, but about 1/2 inch from it.
Yeah, I'll take the first way, where you're further away from the mic. I think that just sounds really beautiful there, Roger.
Further away from the mic, I think that just sounds really beautiful there, Roger.
Okay, well, I can turn the mic gain down a little bit if I need to. So I don't know if I should turn it down and get a little closer, keep the background noise down, or if I should just leave it like this.
Well, gosh, I wish I had a better copy on you. Tell me about your antenna system for about 10 seconds, and let me look around. I'm still looking around for a better copy location, Roger.
Still looking around for a better copy location, Roger.
Yeah. Florida at the top of the Gulf of Mexico, 35 miles east at 100 watts, and that's probably why you're having a little bit difficult time copy. You're having but I'm putting that 100 watts out of my ICOM 7300 into about 140 feet of RG213. And that's going into an antenna of my own design called the Tune antenna. I don't know if you're familiar with that antenna or not.
Gosh, I am not. I am not. Just a word or so on the hand mic. Best way to use that is pull it to the corner of your lips and talk across it. Talk across it at the corner of your lips. Actually touch the corner of your lips, Roger.
The corner of your lips. Actually touch the corner of your lips, Roger.
Yeah, it's touching the corner of my lips now, and I'm talking across it.
Roger, that should minimize any mic noise, transient P's, B's, and otherwise stuff that you don't want to broadcast, Roger.
Stuff that you don't want to broadcast, Roger.
Yeah, Roger. Anyway, the antenna is a remotely adjustable, motorized, inverted V, half-wavelength, center coax-fed wire dipole, and it operates from 1.6 megahertz to the top of 6 meters at 55 megahertz. Everything in between, truly efficient, without an antenna tuner, 1-to-1 SWR, truly resonant at a half wavelength at any frequency between 1.6 and 55 megs, simply by flipping a switch on the control box in the shack and extending remotely the antenna elements out from as short as 4 feet on each side to as long as 150 feet on each side.
Roger. Now, okay, so you're not using an external antenna tuner, but you are using this device that tunes the antenna length. Is that what I'm understanding?
Antenna length. Is that what I'm understanding?
Yes, there's a little worm gear-driven gear motor with its shaft that goes all the way to the gearbox, and on each side of the shaft, on each side there's an insulator, and on each insulator is a stainless steel reel with stranded stainless cable on it, and the cable actually feeds out and retracts back in, rolls up on and off of that reel. so that you watch your watt meter, and when the antenna starts to come into resonance at a half wavelength, you just, when the SPR hits flat and the forward power hits the max the radio is set for, you just let off the switch and the motor stops turning, and the antenna is the correct half wavelength at that frequency, so that you have an efficient antenna without an antenna tuner.
Roger, Roger. Now, do you have two of those that you do each part of the dipole separately, or you do both of them at the same time?
Separately, or you two do both of them at the same time?
Well, the motor shaft goes through the gearbox and it sticks out each side of the gearbox. So the shield side is on one reel on one side, the shield of the coax, and the center conductor is on the reel on the other side, and they're isolated from the shaft with an insulator, both of them, so that it's just like a regular standard center-fed dipole, only it has stranded stainless cable on each of the reels, so that when the center and the shield side feed out, they feed out at the same rate, so they stay parallel with each other. And that's the way it works.
Roger, sounds good to me. I'm all in favor of dipole antennas. I mean, say what you will. To me, I've come to respect the dipole antenna as being one of the most efficient dipole antennas in the world, and also the way that it's oriented makes a big difference as to you getting into a specific target area. The more broadside you are to the target area with your dipole, the more signal you will level towards your target. You are pretty much dead off the ends of a dipole antenna.
Pretty much dead off the ends of a dipole antenna.
Yeah, Roger. Well, I believe that's pretty accurate. And I chose an inverted V because I wanted more of an omnidirectional transmitting and receiving directivity, so that everybody in all directions could hear me and I could hear them. And of course, it's also good because you can receive vertically polarized stations equally as well as horizontally polarized stations. Whereas if you had a horizontal dipole, you wouldn't receive the vertically polarized ones as well as if you had the same polarization. And of course, the center coax beat point impedance is about 52 ohms on the inverted V versus 72 ohms on the horizontal dipole. So that's why I went with inverted V. Also, it needs one center support instead of multiple supports, especially if you're operating the lower bands like 160 meters and 80 meters.
Roger, and so how much would you think economically that you've got involved in that adjustable dipole antenna?
In that adjustable dipole antenna?
The cost to make it, about $500 or less, a little bit less maybe. I do build them and I do sell them, but I don't want to commercialize over amateur radio. But let me give you the website, and you can go watch the animation and look at all the photos of all the components. The website address is www.tune-a-tenna.com. www.tune-a-tenna.com.
Roger. Well, I think you should be able to stir some interest up with that kind of antenna. It really sounds beautiful, Roger.
With that kind of antenna, it really sounds beautiful, Roger.
Well, it's a single antenna, center coax fed, and it works the whole spectrum efficiently without any compromise. So if you're transmitting 100 watts, you're going to be efficiently and effectively radiating that 100 watts. And not losing 50% of your power in the soma heat in your coax or your antenna matching device.
Roger, so again, I'm understanding how you're tuning it. Now, my normal tune on a dipole antenna is the center conductor I would tune to on frequency, and I would tune the SWR on the ground side, and then I would go back and bring the antenna on frequency by the high side, and then we'll go back to the ground side and adjust the SWR, and you keep going back and forth until you reach null on your SWR and you're on frequency. Roger?
Null on your SWR and you're on frequency. Roger?
Yeah, Roger. If you're cutting your elements to get the maximum efficiency, that would be one way to do it. With this mechanism, the elements are the same length, or very close to the same length as the antenna elements feed off the reel. And of course, there's a 1 pound weight at the end of each of the antenna elements, and that 1 pound weight has a pulley on the top of it on each side, on the shield side and the hot side, and that pulley rides up and down on a masterant guy cable material that's non-metallic. And so gravity and the 1 pound weight and the motor extends it out and retracts it back in and keeps tension on it so that it winds up snugly and shorts all the windings out, so it's all seen as one potential. And of course the reel is stainless also, and it's slightly larger than the windings, so it's all seen as one potential with no arcing or anything like that.
Roger. Now, what would the cabling to that look like? How would you, what drives, power drives would you have going to that, and how do you use the power cable going to it?
How do you use the power cable going to it?
Well, I use a regular coax to the coax connector at the bottom of the box. The box is 8 inches by 8 inches by 5.2 inches and weighs about 8 pounds. And the DC power cable is 2 conductors with jacketed wires, and outside of the jacketed wires is a black jacket, and I provide 100 feet of that cable with the connectors on it that plug into the bottom of the box, 2-pin connectors, aviation style connectors, and then it goes down and comes into the shack and goes into the back of the control box. And then you got 12 volts coming off your radio power supply that goes into the control box with a little pigtail connector with the same connector on it. So you're taking the 12 volts from your, or your 13.8 volts from your radio power supply, running it through the control box, and you're extending and retracting the antenna with that. And you just watch your watt meter when you want to extend it or retract it, and you just put your little carrier on there, about 20 watts or 10 watts, and you watch your watt meter. When the SWR goes flat and the forward power hits the max your radio set for, you just let off the switch, and your antenna is the correct half wavelength in length for that frequency you're operating.
Roger. Well, I think that you're going to be very successful in your endeavor. That sounds like a very nice operation, to be able to figure out the voltages and get an easy way to get the power to the devices. And so I guess you just have a switch that reverses the motor drive to come back the other way, so you can tune some of the lower frequencies, Roger?
So you can tune some of the lower frequencies, Roger?
Yeah, Roger. I tell everybody when they first get it to put it up at 40 meters, and that way it only takes maybe 13 seconds to go from 40 to 80 meters, and twice that to go from 40 to 160 meters. But if you're going up in frequency from 40, faster, because the bands are much, the antenna elements for those bands are much shorter. So it's a lot faster changing from, say, 40 meters up to, say, 20 meters or 18 megahertz. Takes about 6 seconds or something like that. It extends out or tracks back in at about 1 foot per second.
Roger. Well, it just sounds beautiful, and it's a neat idea. and it's a very forward-looking idea, one that's you know, right in its beautiful time right now. So I wish you luck and success on it. It should be very successful, Roger.
Success on it. It should be very successful, Roger.
Well, I've sold like 65 of them at this point. I've only been selling them for 2 years, so but nobody. I don't really advertise other than word of mouth, and so I'm not really advertising at all, period, other than that. But thank you so much for the nice comments, and it's been a pleasure talking to you. Thank you for helping me try and adjust my audio controls on my Ocom 7300. If you get a chance, check out that website, tune-a-tenna.com. And also, there's like 6 YouTube videos on YouTube. Type in that same thing in the search block on YouTube, and you'll see those videos also. Anyway, I'm going to say 7 threes to you, Jim, unless you have some more questions. And hopefully, we'll get to work again sometime. KC9VKV in Kentucky, WB4NWV, Frank in Pensacola, Florida. God bless.
Roger, Frank. Good idea, but I hope you're all the luck in the world. 73. This is the Friday afternoon Qso-Vlog net, and we got to get out of here now. It's 5 o'clock, and since 3:30 we've been recording and talking and all that stuff. So right now it's time to return the frequency back to normal amateur radio use. This is Kilo Charlie 9, Victor Kilo Victor, clear.